What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to be unequipping CTPs, and this is a golden opportunity to do this because right now we have a 50% off unequipping cost. So you can unequip your mighty CTPs for 400 crystals if you have them, or you can unequip all of your other obelisks for 300 crystals, which is, half off compared to what it normally is. And, I do have some criteria for whether or not you should be unequipping your CTPs or not. One is your love for the character. Obviously, if you love them, if you play with them all the time, then you should put the best obelisk on them and keep that obelisk on them so you can enjoy them for what they have to offer. The other thing is, how many game modes do you play them in, right? That's something that I go by quite a bit. And what obelisk is actually relevant for them in those game modes? Also, how many game modes do I play them in? That's another thing. So starting with Null, as insane as Null is, I do have this mighty CTP on him that gives the increased all attack by 20%, and the fact that he has this ignore iframe on this third skill makes him really great for danger room, and he is an ABX meta. But this is kind of the thing for me when it comes to Null. I'm actually probably going to unequip this obelisk and put a CTP of rage on him, and the reason for that is, one, he's great in danger room, and with an obelisk he's very difficult to proc. But against World Boss, he's amazing. But the thing about World Boss is, in World Boss, once you get to a certain point, you're going to start needing a certain type character. So once you get up to 15, you need human. Null is no more relevant. He isn't relevant for this anymore. And you're just going to, and now you need male and then you need superhero. So again, he just isn't relevant. And it's going to be a long time before I start changing my cards, adding more Pierce on my account, before I really want to use Null with a CTP of energy anymore. So I think this would be a good high time to go ahead and unequip it, but I'm going to leave it on him for now because I might do a further test with him, maybe comparing this mighty CTP versus a CTP of rage. If y'all are interested in that, let me know in the comments. Then we have Sentry. Sentry is a character that I mainly play in PvP, and that's pretty much it. That is the only place I play this character. He doesn't need this obelisk at all on him. So I'm actually going to unequip this obelisk, and I'm going to end up putting a CTP of regeneration on him because PvP is where he shines. He's amazing in PvE. He really is. But I never use him. I never use him for anything, which is crazy considering how strong the character is. Then we have Cable. And Cable does have a mighty CTP of energy, and actually that CTP that you all saw with all attack from Null, I actually wouldn't mind taking that CTP and putting it on Cable. But I actually do want to do a test with Cable, comparing the beatdown proc to having the extra all attack, because the word is, once you get past 10% Pierce, I have 13% Pierce on my account now, that you get very diminishing returns on the amount of Pierce that you're getting. So I'm told that maybe having the all attack would actually be better. So I'm going to keep this obelisk on him because I actually might do a future test with him. Again, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. Then we have Deadpool. You guys can see that I don't have any obelisk on Deadpool. Now, there's going to be players that are going to have an obelisk on him or on her because they love her, they want to play with her. She's super awesome against the regular world bosses because the all defense down actually applies from her kit, right? This all defense down is insane. But against Null and Mephisto, it's crap. It isn't worth a damn. Sharon Rogers. Now, Sharon Rogers is a character that I do play religiously, and even though this beatdown proc she doesn't benefit from, because when you're usually doing her regular skills, she wants to take damage from this third skill. However, when you do her tier 3, you get the max amount of accumulated damage automatically when you hit the third skill before the tier 3. So actually having the beatdown when she does her tier 3 is actually very, very good. So I'm actually going to keep this obelisk on her, and again, I do use her in squad battles. She's one of my meta go-tos in squad battles, so I'm actually going to keep that obelisk on her. Gambit is Gambit's one of my world boss killers, and Gambit, because of his leadership, the increase to ignore dodge, it makes him very good for world boss. That's pretty much the only place I use him at. He's actually really good in story mode too, but he'd be better with a rage in story mode. However, he does put in work in the story mode because of the ignore dodge. So I'm actually just going to keep this obelisk on him. I find that it's working out really well for me so far. Then we have Moon Knight. Now, Moon Knight I actually use an ABX, and I do know that the all attack proc is actually better for ABX. So I'm actually going to keep this on him. Even though Moon Knight is not the meta, he's still very, very strong. I don't use him in World Boss much anymore at all. But again, because of ABX, I'm just going to go ahead and keep this obelisk on him. I find that it's a lot easier and more consistent using the all attack proc with a CTP of energy, or just having a regular CTP of energy versus a rage and ABX. Yes, you'll do more damage with a rage, but I prefer consistency. It makes things a lot easier when you're playing a character. Moonstone, really the all attack proc would probably be better for her, especially since she's a ABX meta. But because of squad battle, I do use her in squad battle with Sharon Rogers at times. And having that beatdown proc whenever you use her awakened skill actually does make a bit of difference, because that extra pierce does apply to Surtur in squad battle. So, and I also use her on a regular basis in world boss. Even though she's not a male type, I'm still just doing stage 9 clears over and over and over. And again, it's going to be a long time. I'm pretty much capped out at stage 20 against world boss. So I'm pretty much capped out there. So I'm just going to keep using her and just keep this proc on her. And then we have Mephisto. And Mephisto, I actually want to put a CTP of Judgment on him. However, I only have 2 CTPs of Judgment, and they're on Ghost Rider and Rogue. And I want to keep those damn things on those characters. I don't want to change them up. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to keep this rage on him. If I do get a CTP of Judgment in a store chest or something while this unequip cost is going on, I will go ahead and unequip it, because Mephisto is a ABX meta. He's actually insane, and I do use him on a regular basis against world boss. Then we have Quicksilver. Now, Quicksilver is a character that I don't use for anything. I don't use him for jack at all. So I'm actually unequipping. And again, guys, if you love the character, you should play with him. He can put in work against world boss, right? But I never use him. I don't need him for ABX. I don't need him for squad battle. I don't need him for really anything, unfortunately, which is quite a bummer. I mean, Quicksilver is just kind of falling behind. Now, Odin, I do use him once in a while in ABX. You could use him in squad battle. And again, in world boss, he does put in quite a bit of work. I'm not using him as much as I used to, but I'm going to leave the rage on him, because I do tend to use him once in a while in ABX. And then we have Proxima here. Proxima, came into the meta as far as ABX, and, a rage would be better for her. But I'm actually going to keep this obelisk on her, because when it comes to Speed Villain Day or Speed Villain Day or Universal Villain Day, on Universal Villain Day, you're going to be using Null, right? He's going to be the actual meta for ABX. So having this obelisk on her won't hurt at all. And I also do use her in World Boss religiously, especially because of her support passive, her uniform effect passive. I always do that. I always think it's like one of her regular passives, but it's actually a uniform passive. So I'm actually going to keep this obelisk on her, because I do use her on a regular basis, and I do use her in Danger Room also. She puts in some serious work there. Scarlet, she is an ABX meta. That's unfortunately the only thing I do use her for. Guys, and a lot of these characters can put in work in World Boss. They can. I'm just letting you know where I use them and why I keep a certain obelisk on them, or maybe I unequip an obelisk off of them. But Scarlet, I do want to put a CTP of Judgment, but again, it's kind of the same thing like Mephisto. So I'm just going to keep the rage on her. Silver Surfer, he's already got the perfect obelisk on him. He's pretty much just a PvP guy. He can put in work in PvE, but he is a PvP guy through and through. Thanos, actually, I don't use him for anything. I don't use Thanos for jack. I was hoping he was going to get a uniform in this last Black Order update, but unfortunately he didn't. So I'm actually going to unequip this thing, because I am not using this guy for nothing. I'm not using him for nothing. Zero, guys. Then we have Apocalypse. I do use Apocalypse in ABX, and I am going to keep that CTP of Judgment. My bad. I said I had 2 CTP of Judgments earlier. I actually have 3, but they're all on characters that I value and I do use on a regular basis. Rogue and Ghost Rider, and also Apocalypse. And because Apocalypse is an ABX meta, I'm going to keep this on him. Then we have Jean. She's got the CTP of Greed. Great obelisk for her. She's PvP, so I'm going to keep that on her. Mr. Fantastic. Now, in the Maker uniform, he's actually very, very good. But the thing is, I don't really use him. I was using him in ABX quite a bit, but really Apocalypse still puts up the same score, if not better, a lot of times. I mean, the only reason my Mr. Fantastic or Maker can actually put up a score near my Apocalypse is because I just have a better build. I just have more Odin's Blessings on him. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and unequip this thing off of him. And I know some of you, man, you're fans of these characters and you're thinking, oh, Fargo, why are you unequipping it? Because I don't use them. I don't use them for anything at all. Even though he's actually really good in story mode, maybe having that CTP of Rage would be better for him. I just never play the guy. Wolverine, unfortunately, I don't use Wolverine for jack. Doctor Strange. Now, here's the thing about Doctor Strange. I actually don't use Doctor Strange for anything. I don't use him for ABX. I just use Cable for the most part, and I put up very, very good scores. So I actually almost want to take this off of him, but I don't know. You know, Doctor Strange is such a great character to have, especially as far as this leadership, having the increase, 30% increase of energy attack, and then having the ignore target dodge rate with 20%. And sometimes he can come in handy as far as, you know, maybe bringing in an alternate character if one character dies. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and keep it on him. And I don't really like playing Doctor Strange. I find him kind of boring with his rotation. But he really has a great leadership, and he does come in handy quite a bit. So I'm going to leave that on him. Namor, I never use Namor, guys. I don't use Namor for jack. Even though he's actually pretty good for Danger Room as a support because of his passives. So I don't know. I might end up, maybe I will put a rage back on him just because of that. I might do that. I do play Danger Room every day. And I do think a CTP of Insight is actually a very good obelisk for Cyclops. I mean, because of his leadership, because of his passive. I mean, he's just a really great support, and that's really all he is. Magneto. I mean, Magneto's kind of like Doctor Strange. He's got a great leadership for mutants, but unfortunately, that's about it. And, you know, again, guys, it doesn't mean he can't put in work. It doesn't mean he can't do it. It doesn't mean he can't do World Boss. He absolutely can, but he's just been kind of left behind. I don't see the point in having anything on him. Storm, yeah, unfortunately, Storm is a character that really I don't use at all. I mean, I mainly just use it for support for Mephisto and World Boss, but here's the thing about Storm. Storm is one of my favorite X-Men, so I'm leaving this on her. That's right. If I had a judgment, I'd actually put that on her. But I'm going to leave this on her just because I love this character. She's pretty much my second favorite X-Men. I mean, she's way up there. And even though Wolverine is my favorite, he's so weak that I can't use him. At least Storm has a little bit of power, and she does have some relevance with her support. And whenever I'm using her in Danger Room, I can actually at least put in some damage having that rage. So I'm actually going to keep that on her, really, but for the love of the characters, why I keep it on her. Rogue is actually a squad battle meta, and that's why I leave the CTP of Judgment. I don't use her really for anything except for maybe some GBR and squad battle. Those are the two key things that I actually use her in. And squad battle is very important to try to get in those top 3 places in order to get them extra Mandalay gems. And I do love Rogue. Captain America. Okay, so I love Captain America. He's an amazing character, but unfortunately, yeah, I got to unequip it, guys. I don't use Captain America for jack. I don't use him for anything, unfortunately. Carnage, it's the same thing, guys. Like, I don't use, Carnage just doesn't have enough oomph. You know, plus he's a combat type, and like Captain America, they have that disadvantage against Mephisto. And even though I play Null all the time, it just isn't good enough. His damage just isn't good enough for me. Hulk, yeah, we're definitely going to take the rage off of Hulk because, well, he just isn't very good in PvE, right? He just kind of sucks, and he's really better for PvE. I mean, he doesn't suck, but he just isn't very good. So I'm going to end up putting a CTP of regeneration. So I got 2 CTPs of regeneration there, one for Sentry and one for Hulk, but I got to level them up. And I do love Hulk, but again, I'm just going to use him for PvP because that's really where he shines. Now, Iron Man is a character that I don't have an obelisk on right now, and he is a character that I truly love. So I'm probably going to end up maybe slapping one of those rages on him. And it's mainly because I love the character, and that's really the only reason. He isn't a meta anywhere, but he is very good in the world bosses. He can do very well against GBR. He can put in work even in squad battle, but he's not the meta by any means there. So I'll actually probably end up slapping a rage on him because, I mean, I do have a good build. I do have Odin's Blessings on this character because I do love him. So similar to Storm, I'm probably going to slap one on him. And he does put in work a world boss. Maybe if your character dies, you get down to the last few bars of your world boss, you can actually use Iron Man. Really, I'm probably just going to end up putting an obelisk on him just because I love him. Star-Lord actually does have decent damage, and he is a great support because of his leadership, but I'm going to leave him blank, guys. You can see that I've already been taking ISO 8s off of him. I don't use Star-Lord for anything, unfortunately. It's not that I undervalue him and think that he isn't good. He is good. He is strong. But let's face it, compared to the Black Order and all these new characters and all these metas that keep coming in the game, he's just getting left behind. Okay, so Black Widow. I do love Black Widow, but unfortunately, I don't use her. I don't use her for anything, so I'm actually going to unequip this. I do love the character, but she just isn't strong enough, to be honest, and I really would prefer to use her in PvP. I'd actually rather have a CTP of Greed on her in all reality. And then we have Daredevil. I think this is a great obelisk for Daredevil. I do use him in PvP pretty religiously. He's actually quite strong, especially because of his ignore iframe. I mean, he's a Jean Grey killing machine. Freaking monstrous against her. Luna, I mean, okay, so Luna's one of them characters I don't use for anything except for ABX. That's it. Just ABX. And the Rage is the best for her when it comes to that, so I'm going to leave it on her. Winter Soldier, I mean, yeah. Winter Soldier just isn't very good. Okay, Black Bolt. Black Bolt, again, is a good character. He's got a lot of nice little attack buffs in his kit. He's got the nice damage accumulation, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, I don't use him. You can see I've even unequipped some ISO 8s from him because I don't use the character at all. So we're going to unequip that Rage, unfortunately. Then we have Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, again, guys, is a character that I'm not using. She has been replaced by Scarlet, so we're actually going to replace it. She doesn't do that much work in ABX. I mean, I'm getting a lot of Rages right now. Okay, Ghost Rider, absolutely going to keep this on him. I use Ghost Rider for squad battle. I use him even in ABX at times. I use him. He's just amazing against Danger Room. This character, after all this time, is still freaking godly. He's still godly because of his attack buffs, because of the insane freaking passive that he has, right? Because of the ignore iframe on the third skill, you know, Magneto can't get away from him or Stripe can't get away from him. In Danger Room, Squad Battle, he's massive. ABS, I mean, guys, we can go on and on and on. Ghost Rider is so freaking, he's so good. He's so good, right? Thor, I don't use Thor, guys. If I ever get a CTP of Judgment, I'll put one on him, but I just don't use the character. Corvus, we're going to keep this on him. Actually, Corvus, I'm probably actually going to take this off of him. I'm going to take it off him because we're going to end up slapping a CTP of Rage because actually he's going to do a lot better. And by the way, I made a past ABX video about Corvus and I, wasn't running with the SFX on. And yes, you do get a massive damage increase when you have the SFX on. I actually increased my score by 400,000 points by having the SFX on, and his targeting was actually a lot better with a CTP of energy. So I actually did more damage, and I actually just read Corvus by himself. I didn't switch to Mystique and use her with the Rage, which is something to remember. I'm going to end up slapping a Rage on this guy. Then we have Supergiant. I'm absolutely going to keep this CTP of Judgment on her. She's insane in Danger Room. She's insane against the GBRs, against the PvE content. Massive. I even used her last week in Squad Battle on the no restriction day, and I still got third place, guys. Yeah, she is not the meta there. There are characters that are stronger than her for Squad Battle on no restriction day, but still I was able to get third place in Vibranium. So yeah, she's definitely, I'm keeping her there. Beta Ray Bill, I'm absolutely going to keep a CTP of energy on him. I actually think he's the best with this thing. You can make the argument for a CTP of Judgment, but I find his one-shot potential is just so much better with the CTP of energy against GBR, against Danger Room. He just does insane. We're keeping it on him, and I do use him in Danger Room religiously. That's pretty much the only place I use him. I don't use him in World Boss. X23, I'm actually going to keep a CTP of energy on her. She would be better with the Rage, but I like playing with the CTP of energy, so I'm actually going to keep it on her. Okay, Mystique. So you heard what I just said earlier about Corvus, right? Mystique is no more. Supergiant is the best super villain, female super villain, and now you have Corvus, who's the best speed villain. So we're actually going to unequip this. And, I might end up slapping a CTP of Insight on her. And I know that's kind of a shame because Mystique is a strong character. She's got a lot of great attack buffs. I mean, actually insane attack buffs in her kit. Just nuts, man. But I don't use her. I don't use her for anything. So why have an obelisk like that on her if I'm not using her? Amadeus, we're just going to keep that on. I never use her for anything. Okay, Iron Fist. I don't use Iron Fist for nothing. But I do like playing Iron Fist. I do enjoy playing this character, and he's easy to play. He's very proc friendly. So, you know what? I'm going to keep it on him. I'm going to keep it on him because I do enjoy playing him. I actually need to put a different obelisk on this character for PvP. Actually, a CTP regeneration would be nice because she does have, I believe she has penetration in her kit. I think she has penetration in her kit somewhere. I can't remember if she does or not, to be honest. She does have ignore iframe, which is very important for her. She has the reflect. Okay, she has the reflect, which is very important. Okay, maybe she doesn't have penetration. But she does have that reflect, and that doesn't come in handy. I've actually killed hawks with this girl, even with this build. Luke Cage, absolutely going to keep the CTP of regeneration on him. Valkyrie, we're going to keep the CTP of rage on her for ABX. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, Blue Dragon just isn't very good. Human Torch, I'm actually going to end up putting a CTP of Judgment on him, and I do want an obelisk on this character. I do like using him. It's funny, actually, you know, having 13% Pierce and doing stage 9 against Null every day. Actually, even without an obelisk, he puts in so much work that I don't need one, but I am going to put an obelisk on this character. He is terrific for Danger Room, and he's actually amazing in World Boss. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting an obelisk on him. I actually, even though Dr. Octopus has been replaced in Speed Villain, I actually, well, you know what? I don't know. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to keep this on him because I do use him for squad battle. That's the yeah, I'm gonna keep this on and use him for squad battle because, you know, they don't have an alien category in squad battle. There's a human, so we're actually going to be using him in squad battle. So I'm gonna leave that on. Medusa, unfortunately, I just use Medusa mainly for her leadership. She's a great character, very strong. CTP of energy would be good for her. Rage should be optimal, but you know, you really, I mean, maybe having a rage on her would be a good idea. Maybe in some situations in ABX. And then we have Spider-Gwen. Guys, I just don't use Spider-Gwen for anything. But really, to be fair, my Spider-Gwen is not transcended. So I really never got to test her, in all fairness. So maybe in the future, I will end up slapping a CTP of energy on her because she does play very well with one. And that concludes all of my transcended and tier 3 characters. I know there's other characters like Dormammu, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and other characters that I've named, Professor X. But I don't have them, and so I'm not using those characters at all. Loki, you definitely want an obelisk on. He is in the ABX meta for sure. Dormammu, I mean, really, you'd want probably a CTP regeneration for him because he does have penetration, and he's actually really good in PvP. Not sure about PvE. Black Panther, I'm pretty sure you're not going to use him. Spider-Man, pretty sure you're not really going to be using him. Unless you just love these characters, you're probably not going to be using them. And I'm pretty sure I probably forgot maybe some other characters, but these are the characters that I unequipped obelisk off of, and I did let you guys know some of the characters that I will be putting obelisk on for, you know, squad battle, danger room. And remember, you do have story mode also, but I don't really play story mode a whole lot because I find that I don't have a lot of the characters I need to get the fragments guaranteed. So I actually do slack on that. That is a confession of mine that I'm giving to you guys right now. Obviously, the more rages you have on more characters, the better you're going to do because they can actually play in story mode and do a lot better, and you won't have to worry about timing your procs, especially in dispatch mission. So that is something to keep in mind. So I know this has been a long video, so I'm just going to cut it short right now. Let me know how you're all doing in the game. Let me know what characters you unequipped obelisk off of, and let me know what characters you're putting obelisk on. And I do stream on Twitch at Reset. The link will be in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.